All right, so let's make a formal introduction for our listener. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Claudia. I'm calling you from Washington, D.C., from the studios in Fairfax City. We're very humble and grateful that in the Nursery accepted our invitation to our show. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hello there. Hi there.
So let's go to current events. So whatever everything that is going on in the world with COVID and, inability to bands like yourself, play live, tour them much. We live in a crazy world. People believe in the vaccine, some people don't believe, a lot of people die. How you guys holding up? How the COVID has affected your creativity, your sanity, your family life, or whatever?
I think we're coping pretty well. Obviously, we're not getting out to play any live shows, but we've been concentrating on writing new music. We just finished our new album. That's all mastered and complete. And we've been busy. Alongside that, we've been doing a lot of really nice re-releases in CD tins of our back catalogue and of rediscovered old recordings. We did our original debut concert from Sauter Lane in 1981. That came out on CD. So we've been keeping very busy.
I got you. Good for you. Were you guys born like in a musical family? How old were you when you began, I don't know, taking piano lesson or guitar lesson, when you were?
No, not at all. I don't know of any of our relatives who were musical in any sense. And we really didn't get much sort of music played to us at home. I mean, our parents didn't really play a lot of music. A lot of people sort of said they had the Beatles and the Rolling Stones played to them by their parents, but we never really had that. I think our elder brother got into music. He got into reggae, and he had his own sort of disco, which he used to take out to places. But I think we just got inspired by going to see gigs, and then punk came along, and then we just got inspired to make our own music.
Yeah. Good. What kind of music were you listening at the time? I heard that Joy Division was one of the first gigs that you guys saw.
Before that, we were going to concerts like Thin Lizzy, Groundhogs. Yeah. What else? And Dr. Feelgood. They were like the bridge between that commercial music into punk music. And then as soon as punk came along, we were just going to all the Susan the Banshees, Adam and the Ants. So I mean, we were going to concerts. I'm checking back on my diaries, and we're going to concerts at the age of 14. And
really?
Wow. Seeing bands, seeing Thin Lizzy in '75. So we were, and buying records at that. Well, so I guess we had an inkling of sort of music we liked, and then it all changed a little bit when punk came along. But we still had that sort of grounding and just enjoying music.
Yeah, I got you. And for me it was kind of the same, right? So I grew up in a family. My dad did have a lot of music, so I began listening to music when I was a baby, literally a baby. I different type of music I like, and he liked jazz and all jazz. So I kind of, when I was 14, I discovered, I think it would have been either Genesis or Led Zeppelin, one of those, and the rest was history. I knew that I wanted to be an engineer. I was good at math and physics, but music was an outlet. Music was a way to transport me somewhere else, and I've been very fortunate that after finished high school, I came here to study in the United States, and I ended up staying. I have seen so many gigs, so I'm very, very grateful. And so feel free to mention that I think you guys had a lot of influence by Joy Division, how to play an important part early in your careers, right?
Yeah, we were lucky to see Joy Division a few times. I think we're influenced by not just Joy Division, but a lot of the what is called post-punk. So people who were inspired to make music out of punk, and then that gave us the impetus to just, that we could just do it. So
I'm trying to think of the other bands that influenced us.
Magazine was another one.
There's obscure bands like In Camera. They were on 4AD.
So is that sort of, yeah, it was post-punk, and I suppose a lot of the music was quite dark and sort of atmospheric. Yeah, that bands like Joy Division sort of inspired us to pick up instruments and, you know, I think we already got a guitar before. Nigel then we got a bass guitar, and that just inspired us to write our own songs and write lyrics as well.
And then at the time, how you end up deciding to, well, I want to perhaps see music as a way of life or going to college. It was like any family pressure to, no, school is the only way, go to university, forget about music, you will not make any money as a musician, or you did have the freedom to sort of explore both ways, you know, have like an academic career in your life and then eventually
there was never any
make a
pressure.
decision, huh?
There was never any pressure to do, you know, to concentrate on academic career or certain careers. We both left to study outside of, you know, away from home, and fortuitously we both came up to Sheffield in consecutive years. It wasn't at the same time, and before that we'd already started writing music between ourselves, but settling in Sheffield sort of and finding a third member gave us a real sort of, you know, a really good formation for the band. And it was, I suppose it was always seen as a hobby then, you know, something to do on the side whilst you're studying and graduating. But once we graduated in 1983, both of us, that was the same year we brought out our first album.
Yep.
And I think saw that it's something we could, you know, we could do. And there was a lot of interest from record labels, and, you know, very vibrant time for bringing out records and keeping busy and making a bit of money, but also having to work to supplement the music.
Yeah, I think the album you're referring is When Cherished Dreams Come True, right? In 93. And then that was the first album, you know, and now almost 40 years later, what's the motivation come from to, you know, keep on producing good music and then going back and revisit your catalog, you know, it's hard to make a living as a musician, I suppose. You know? So what's the inner motivation for you guys to keep on doing what you're doing? And now you have released over, I don't know, 20, 25 or something records or so, right?
Yeah, I'm counted.
Yeah, well, the new album has got a catalogue number of 041, so that's 41 releases on our own label, which includes, you know, that catalogue that we re-released. So including soundtracks, we're getting on to 40 titles now.
Yep.
I think what's helped us keep going is since the mid-90s we've had our own record label and we've done it all independently ourselves, so we own all the copyright for our music. So when we get publishing it, we get the money. It doesn't go through other people, so that's helped.
Yeah,
but we just like to be in control of our music.
Absolutely, right. When you go to a record label, well, you are at the mercy of someone else's decision and somebody else's budget and promoting your music and taking a bigger cut of, you know, sales and stuff. Right. So when you're doing your own, you have more control there. Feel free to elaborate in Stormhorse. I think it was the second album.
Twins. Well,
I'm sorry, Twins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the sense that, yeah, it was perhaps, I'm sorry, I make a mistake. We have the first one that was done as a way of expressing your music from soundtrack point of view, right? Yeah. I think it wasn't done for a soundtrack that it existed, right? It was imaginary soundtrack, imaginary movie.
Yeah, we always see images when we write music, so we felt we wanted to just write something which gave the impression of a film score.
Gotcha.
It gave us inspiration for writing. You know, it gave us a focus for writing the music.
I suppose we always tend to do that. They're not really concept albums, but each album has got a theme which motivates us to create songs for that album. Later on there was Lingua, which is all about the human voice, and so there's lots of different languages on that one. Yeah, we've always used that as a motivation.
I got you. Great, thank you. Feel free to elaborate on the Optical music series, providing music for several silent films. How they came about? I mean, would somebody approach you guys, or what came for you guys decided to, well, those are great music from the 20s and the 30s, and of course they don't have any music, maybe you should put the music and play the live, or do an album about that. Feel free to.
Yeah, it was 1996. We had a friend who was working at an art house cinema, and we were looking for a project to do, something that we could apply to visuals. And so it was going to be a one-off performance of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari with a live score, electronic score. So we did it, and then we realized, well, okay, let's bring it out as a CD and tour it. So we toured it around the world now. In Mexico, Turkey, I don't know, all over. So, and from that we thought, well, I think, well, we obviously, when we brought it out as a CD, we came up with the name Optical Music Series. So we obviously felt it was something we could replicate and repeat. And I'm glad we did, because we've kept that identity throughout there's now 8, I think, in the series.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you did that. Were you performing not just in Europe, in other countries as well, in Mexico, Latin America at all as well, or not?
Yeah, we did perform Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and lots of other of the Optical films in Mexico. Yeah, Guadalajara. Yeah.
By the way, I forgot to mention, I was born in Chile, so
we had interest in Chile, but it never came about. So far, it's only been Mexico, because we've got a really good contact there, a promoter.
Yeah.
But we I think Brazil as well were interested in getting us out there in the late 1990s, but something didn't happen.
So what was the reception from your fan base about when you were performing that type of music for silent films, with the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, The Man with a Movie Camera, The Page of Madness, and so on and so forth? Those are great movies. How do you end up picking the movies, or you think why one movie versus the other?
First, it's always got to be a movie that inspires us and makes us want to write music.
Yeah.
And the second would be consider copyright, whether we can get the rights to screen the film.
Yeah.
And I suppose we will also sort of take into consideration whether people want to go and see a film like that. But then we've done films like Seashell and The Clergyman, which is really odd film, really abstract film. So it's just something that's visually interesting that we feel we're going to write some interesting music for.
I think our audience also appreciate the differences between what we do with the silent film scores and what we do as a live band when we play at festivals or concerts. They're quite different entities, and I think the audience appreciate that, and they understand we're doing something different.
Yeah, gotcha. Recently you guys did I think perform the live score of a page of Madness, right? I think it was October this year, right?
Yeah. Locally in Sheffield, yes.
Yeah. Feel free to elaborate how they came together, and then what was the anticipation reception from the public. And
we did Page Madness originally was 2004, and it's been a while since we've performed that score. And the invite to do it at the Yorkshire Silent Film Festival recently was just really our step back into doing live music. So we've done two. We did Man with a Movie Camera and Page of Madness. It's a really lovely local venue in Sheffield, an old theatre. So yeah, it was right for us. You know, there wasn't travel involved. We didn't have to go to Europe, and it was a chance to start playing again. But it's a great score for the Japanese film.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, so if you look back at your career, you know, what do you think are the inspiration to create a sound, if you will, that is totally your own? I mean, somehow making music without a compromise, right? You're not under a record label that tell you, hey, I don't like this stuff, you know, I want you to go into this direction, that you do the role release. What's the inner drive for you guys to do music without compromise and to be totally your own, you know, to defend, you know, ITM's identity, if you will?
It's not really a formula, but I think we've done it from the very beginning, and it's just a natural instinct to play the music and also the instruments that we enjoy, the sounds that come from them. It's difficult because when we first started, we didn't really want a conventional sit-down drummer. We wanted to use marching drums, sort of stand-up thing. And then we started incorporating timpanis and orchestral bass drums into the live sound, and that was just quite a bizarre combination, really, you think about it. But we wanted to incorporate orchestral sounds into the music which we were doing. Yeah, and that's just evolved to us wanting to do more musical sort of soundtrack style music, and then using samplers to create the orchestral sounds. And since then we've used live musicians for it.
When you yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, on the new album, there's probably a couple of tracks which people wouldn't normally expect from the band. But there's also, we just like the combination of music. So there'd be certain sounds which will make you think about different harmonics and things which will work with it. So then you evolve the piece of music. But then often those pieces of music will get parked or overlooked in preference for something else. So it's a big sort of evolving process. But the bottom line is that the two of us feel confident and enthusiastic about a piece of music. That means it will then develop to the next stage, and we'll take it on. So it's a difficult thing to. It's not an easy thing to say. This is how we work. It's a lot of different.
That's what's been quite interesting with the optical music scores as well, because that's taken us out of our comfort zone a little bit, and we've had to find sounds and instruments that would suit the images that we're working with. For instance, like Page of Madness, which is a Japanese. What's another one? So we're trying to the Joan of Arc score as well. Passion of Joan of Arc. You look at the silent images, and you have to come up with a palette of sound that is going to fit it and not take you out of that. You know, I'm watching a film experience. So yeah, it's quite a good way of trying new sounds and developing what we're doing musically.
I got you. Yeah, there's always a risk, right? Going into different territories, but I suppose that's the only way to evolve as a musician, as an artist in general, right? You keep on doing the thing, you know. Well, you're not exploring other sides, and there's a risk, right? Your music, your fan space may walk away from you guys because, hey, I don't like the soundtrack stuff. You know, keep on concentrating on what you used to do and so forth. But it's good that you can capture both audiences, the people that like the music and the people that like arty films, if you will, producing soundtracks.
Yeah.
You think, because since you were born in Sheffield, the Sheffield era at the time, I think we mentioned Heaven 17, Cabaret Voltaire, the Human League, played a big influence in growing up and the way that you saw music and how that particular city had influenced you guys over the year, as opposed to you have born in London, or it would have made a difference, you think?
Well, just to put the facts straight, we were actually born and raised in a little village just outside London.
Oh, I see.
So we all in a place just outside London, and we moved to Sheffield at the age of 18. So we've been going to see concerts before, but they were just local ones. But coming to Sheffield, I'd already been to see gigs and concerts, but Sheffield was something quite different. It was, you could almost go to a concert every day of the week. You could go to a little bar, or so yeah, there was something on every night. Whereas like before, it was just once a week or once every 2 weeks or something. So you really, when you came to Sheffield, I got the feeling that it was a community of musicians. You go and see a concert, you go and see Clock DVA or vice versa, and you just be standing there with other musicians watching your mates on stage doing their thing, and then thinking, oh yeah, they're making a difference and they're doing this and that. But yeah, the audience they were just music, they were just people in bands, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. I
think it was very a very good timing that we came to Sheffield at that period and dropped into the scene and experienced it all, and then started creating our own identity. And obviously there were a lot of people, a lot of bands like Human League and ABC getting really good commercial success, although that's not something we didn't strive for that. We just wanted to bring out music that we felt good about. But it was good to see other people, really going for it and getting a good name for themselves at the same time.
Okay. Do you still guys go to concert? I mean, it's the UK is completely open up now. I mean, to live gigs and stuff, or still with restrictions?
There's no restrictions, and when you do go to a concert, I mean, I haven't been to that many recently. There's not as many concerts, and I guess they're not always the capacities are down as well. But I think that's just the case of people really not wanting to venture out yet. Still a sort of caution about that.
Yeah,
but it's a great thing. It's a great feeling to go to your first concert for like 18 months, and you suddenly realize what it's like to be in a room with other people, listen to that music which is reverberating in that room, and it's a different feeling to sitting in a room listening to music.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I will go crazy without going to a live concert. I see close to, I don't know, 40 or 50 a year, because where I live, every band come this way. I live in the border with 3 different states, and people in the Washington area really like music. So, and they have good jobs, a good disposable income. So every band that is somewhere in the music, somewhere in the music business will come this way. And only music venue open up about 45 days ago. There are restrictions. You need to prove that you were vaccinated or that you tested negative within the last 24 hours. And then with music, it comes with the freedom here in the United States. It comes with responsibility, and you need to wear a mask, and it's unbelievable. For me, I keep on buying music, but seeing someone live show, and I know these tracks, and I know the order, the set list. Seeing a band playing live and there you the crowd it's unbelievable. It's like it's beautiful. I don't know how to say. It give me a lot of satisfaction, you know. And feel free to elaborate. And I think the first soundtrack you guys put together was that Ambush of Ghost, right, in 1993, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
What you were hired by like a producer to the release the soundtrack, to create the music for that?
Yeah, we were commissioned to do it. It came about because I think it was the film's producer, or the film's producer was walking around Tower Records in Los Angeles, and ours was one of the records that he picked up. It looked interesting cover, so I think it was a copy of the album Sense, and it was from that he contacted us to do the full score for the film. But it's been, I mean, it was a great experience. The music supervisor came over to the UK to help us do it and gave us lots of tips, you know, how we could improve it. We brought it out as a soundtrack, but the film's never got released. It's really frustrating. And it never will. So I think if it had come out, I think we probably would have got a lot more work, but it doesn't matter. We enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
And we got work out of the music supervisor, so a lot of theatrical trailers. Yeah, but it's very unusual for a film never to get released.
Well, I wonder why. Maybe they lost funding, or I don't know.
There was a stipulation from one of the I think screenwriter, that if he didn't like it, if he had to approve it being released, and he's never approved it.
Wow, very interesting though, right? Man, you're the music. Your music has been used on several soundtrack, trailer, that sort of thing. There gotta be a good feeling though, right? Looking back 40 years later, that you got it okay,
Yeah, no, it's been all right. It's just that it would be nice to maybe done a few more low budget Hollywood features.
Besides releasing your music, is something that you would like to do? Keep on, composing film score and go into that particular area, if you will?
Yeah, we would. Yeah, always open to new ideas. So yeah.
Yep.
Which I think is why we do things like the album The Calling. We worked with an author to do a piece of music which we felt would accompany somebody reading his books. He did a series of books about a crime investigator with a forensic angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Calling for me is one of my favorite albums anyway.
Yeah, gotcha. Feel free to the album that I listened to the last 3 days, about 10 to 15 different albums for you guys, and Bandcamp and Spotify, and some that I own, and I rediscovered again the 1961 album, and it's a very good album. I really like it. Feel free to. All my questions are sort of open-ended, so feel free to elaborate on how that came together and what was the process of making that particular album. And I think I see a picture behind you, right, on the wall there, like the car. And
yeah, so like we said, all our albums and all our music really has to have a reason, or a reason for being, really, and a source of inspiration. And that was around events of 1961, because that's the year we were born. So that picture in the background is a picture of us, who were born in 1961, inside a car which was made in 1961, in front of a quite famous block of flats in Sheffield called Park Hill, which was built in 1961. So also,
wow, no, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So yeah, all the tracks have sort of references to books or organizations that were started.
Space launch, Gagarin, that was in '61. Yeah, the Berlin Wall was built. And so we found those key events linking to the album, which made it more interesting to sort of sit and write pieces, I guess. Yeah, that was what, 4 years ago? A bit more than that, isn't it?
It was 4 years, 2017, the album that came out.
Yeah, it's a very, very good album. You know, nowadays, you know, many bands, great band, they play for a while, they split up, they got together, they split up. In your case, you know, since you've been twins and have been ever a point in your life that you, man, I don't want to see you anymore. You know, we don't get along. Or I mean, of course, there's always friction in family, but you guys in many ways understand with one another. You know, so any in your point in life, you know, any problem or controversy or trying to break up, and not as a family, of course, you cannot, but as a music group, and or you wanted to bring someone else and you don't like the stuff and I don't like the track, you guys still get along very well and fight like normal people?
I think the easiest way to work it is that if we both agree on something, then we do it, and then if we both don't agree on it, then it's not taken any further. That's probably the simplest way of keeping it going, and it's yeah.
Good. Looking back at your musical career, you know, what moment, if you think, are special to you? Any regrets or things you would have changed now after, you know, that many albums and, you know, 40 years playing, creating great music?
No regrets, no. No, it's just difficult just thinking back.
Well, things perhaps that you would have a little bit done differently, or records being produced different by a different producer, but on your case, things you are self-released, you have more control of what you do.
Yeah, so I suppose looking back, if we were under pressure from record label, not under pressure, but they suggested we never bring out singles. So when we brought out some remixes of Hallucinations, and that's probably something we shouldn't have done because it wasn't really what we were about. It was another producer doing those remixes. So
yeah, I was thinking that as well.
That's only one minor little blip, you know, 40 years.
You guys have a large back catalog, you know, so when you tour, and if you, I don't know if you plan on tour next year, but how you pick, I don't know, you say the two of you get together, say we want to pick our 15 songs or whatever those happens to be, how you go about deciding what to play live, and which is very different from when you play live, you know, the film score that you have produced for Silences.
Yeah, I think we know which tracks work well live, and it's always good to incorporate some new ones from recent albums. So I think that's how we bring together a set. So, but we also have certain favourites which just go down so well live. So it's usually percussion-based tracks which we play live. In fact, it's you know, 100% percussion-based.
Yeah, and well, Nigel's playing bass live a lot more, which is great. We still use David, our drummer, who drums on recordings and also plays live with us. And then there's Dolores, who sings with us when we play live. So we do gear the set around the 4 band members. That's the best way of what we do.
I want to mention a couple of tracks, and feel free to elaborate on those. What can you tell me a bit? What can you tell me about the I'm sorry, Until, Before, After from the album 1961? How did composition come together? If you can remember.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that a lot of the tracks will come out of like a sort of held note, a drone. And I got a feeling that one came out of a drone, which I started playing a bass line against. So it's quite slow. It's quite a slow tempo and very slow drum beat as well. But I think that gives it its character. Yeah, that's the opening track in the album, and I don't know if it's that reason, but it gets an awful lot of plays on Spotify. I don't know what much more to say about that, really.
What about, I think your number one, I think it still is the best. The music has been played the most in Spotify. Is the Love Will Tear Us Apart from the album Cause and Effect that came out in 2002, right? So that was what, 20 years later. Do you ever thought that it will be a success, 20 years later? So when you guys
no, I mean, obviously it's a great track, original track, and the only reason we did it is because we were bringing out the album of remixes by other people of our music, and we thought, well, okay, we'll do one ourselves of somebody else's music. I don't know why we chose that track.
No, I'm not sure.
But
either.
we wanted to do like an orchestral interpretation, slow it down. But it's probably one of the hardest tracks to sing on, just because you record the vocal and then the intonations in the phrases, you need to be spot on, otherwise it just sounds weird. And in the end, it's a combination of both our voices.
Yeah,
I think we did separate takes and then combined them, so it's both of us singing the words, which seemed to work.
And I think when we recorded it at our studio, which, to be honest, wasn't the best technique, was it?
It was like a bedroom studio. Yeah.
And we only really had one microphone, which we used. We used that for the voice, which probably, in hindsight, wasn't the best. And we hadn't really got knowledge of recording properly ourselves at home in our own studio. So yes, it's amazing it's come out like it has really, because you would thought you'd have to go into a proper studio to get that.
Yeah, it's a great track, and I have listened to that particular song, I don't know, 100 or 500 times or whatever. And so it's
Did you say it spiked? I think Nigel mentioned that it spiked in South America somewhere. Is that right?
At one period, yeah, there's just a huge spike. Maybe a radio station was playing it a lot and people were listening to it. I don't know, but yeah, it is a high listening one on Spotify.
Yeah,
like
yeah. And so what's your, in Spotify, right? You guys need to be, to make $5 a month. You need to have a million listeners or whatever. I don't know which percentage you get paid, which is fair, right? On Bandcamp, I think they only take 10% and you make the other 90%. But so yeah, feel free to.
On Spotify, people theoretically pay to stream. On Bandcamp, you don't really get paid for the streaming. You get paid for the download.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Spotify, we don't have massive thousands of listeners per month.
Yeah.
Like other people, but the money gets collected for in America and then comes back via a collecting agency in the UK. And it's not great, but it's not too bad. I think it helps because we don't have a record label then taking their cut. So it comes, what there is comes direct to us.
Oh, yeah. You, and for your, with respect to Bandcamp, most of the audience base end up buying only digital format or CDs or soundtrack. I don't know if you offer any vinyl at all on Bandcamp.
There's no vinyl, no. I mean, it's
no.
physical CDs and special editions in tins, which has worked really well, and it's really good to see. You feel like you're interacting with the people who like your music more. I mean, it's completely different to Spotify. I mean, Spotify is quite it's
faceless, really.
Yeah, you've no idea what, but you can have a fan base with Bandcamp, and we found it really good.
Yeah, I get you. For me, at least, Spotify is great because they give me the ability to discover new band, new music, name that I never heard before. Based on the music that you like, you may want to listen to whatever XYZ bands, and it's a very great way to explore new music. And I like a lot of music, but I'm always looking for new music, new musicians, new ways to play music, new soundtrack. I have about film score about at least 500, mostly in the genre of dark electronics related, science fiction type of film, the David Lynch type of film, the Werner Herzog type of film in Germany, and it's for me, it's I think you play like $10 a month here and for Spotify in United States, and you can listen to a lot of great bands. So it's a great mechanism to listen to your music. Do you guys miss touring and then playing live music? Now you've been at home for whatever, 18 months or so.
I can't say I've missed it too much. No, if I'm honest. It's a lot of work involved in the band out Europe, and enjoy doing it, but sometimes it's nice just to spend a bit of time in the studio. Yeah. I'm sure it'd be good to get out live again eventually. I'm not missing it.
Are you guys planning on playing live again next year, or any gigs coming up, or any project to play live, either your music, or playing live your best hits, or playing the film score in a theater like you did before?
To be perfectly honest, we're not making any plans, basically because we haven't really had promoters coming to us. I think they're still unsure about what when it would be. I mean, people are arranging tours in Europe in next year, but it's still uncertain. Everything keeps being pushed back. No, it's a strange one.
Well,
I can't say we've got anything lined up.
Well, hopefully,
yes.
With the new album, you have a new album coming up, and so it will be way too easy for me to say. I don't know the process of, having a tour manager, arrange it. It's a lot of work. I pay money and I go to see a gig somewhere. I have no idea how the stuff came together. Whether the musicians are tired or not, where they came from going after. I pay money and see them, and it's a great way. And I can never, I can never see you live, and I would love one day, hopefully, you tour and have the opportunity to meet you guys, and then have a beer after the show, or playing, seeing you live. It gives me a lot of satisfaction. I can own the 50 records that you have or whatever, but seeing a band live, it's no way to describe to me. You see, knowing the track and then seeing a band live, it's great. Yeah.
Mm. Well, like Nigel said, there's more possibility of us playing America than there is Europe. It seems.
Yeah. Hopefully things will work out, and as I say, here in the Washington D.C. area, and in California, where it's a lot of, it's a lot of people that like soundtracks and film more than here, will be a good city to play them. But hopefully we'll have the opportunity to see you guys. I have only 2 questions left, and then so what you guys do for fun that no music related? You like soccer, you like football, any hobbies that you with no music related movie, well, going to movies probably, suppose.
I think a lot of the sort of hobbies and side projects are inevitably music related. I mean, I like reading good music books about, you know, music biographies. I like field recording and sound design, so I like going out recording interesting natural sounds.
Yeah.
And I'm also involved with a music and film festival called Sensoria in Sheffield. It's an annual film festival. So I do a lot of that outside of working with ITM.
I got you. So, you know, feel free to elaborate where, you know, mention your website and your Bandcamp website, so our listener can go ahead and buy your music. And feel free to mention the names where they can buy your music.
Google, isn't it? On Bandcamp, just search In the Nursery, and inthenursery.com is the main website.
I got you. Yeah. Well, that was my last question, guys. Thank you very much for spending, you know, time this afternoon for you guys, this morning for me, and it was very nice talking to you. I love your music. I've been following you guys for, I don't know, 30, 20, 25 something years, and I love the stuff. And I mentioned recently that I end up purchasing, I want to get more stuff so I can play more of your music on the radio, and I will send you a direct link in the next half an hour about the interview, and hopefully one day we'll have the opportunity to meet you guys and, you know, have a bite to eat or see you play live. It would be great.
Great. No, thank you very much. Yeah, and we'll send you a copy of the album when it's finally released, which is soon.
Early next year. Yeah. All details for the new album will be announced shortly. We can't really talk about it at the moment, but
Sure, I understand.
the news will be out there soon. So.
All right, great. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great afternoon and enjoy your week. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
No problem.